Good day, gentle viewers. In today's news, Crunchyroll teams up to help teach you Japanese, KamiKatsu gets a delay, and a whole bunch of new entries into existing franchises are announced this week. So without any further ado, I am Tristan Gallant, and welcome to Glass Reflection. Let's jam. Crunchyroll comes into the news as of late in two separate ways. Firstly, the company has announced a partnership with language app Duolingo, integrating with their Japanese language course and adding in 50 anime-specific words and phrases. Now you too can be Nihongo Jozu alongside your nakama, even more so than before. 50 phrases doesn't actually seem all that much to me, but then again, most of the information I've ever read regarding using anime as a way to learn Japanese is always boiled down to just don't. It is in many places said to just be a bad idea. So perhaps these 50 words and phrases don't do much on their own, and they're just there to potentially add a bit of flavor and keep some people on track with their language learning by adding in some, things that they recognize and gets them back to being energized and wanting to learn Japanese. Crunchyroll has also stated that they are adding a small number of their easy to understand anime series to essentially free viewing with ad support. These anime include Banana, Free, Nichijou, and Laid Back Camp, which, is a nice gesture, except I remember a time when all of these shows would have been available for free with ad support regardless, and not just because of some weird promotion with a language app. Remember the days when Crunchyroll had the majority of their library available for ad-supported viewing? Those were the days. Now, Crunchyroll is also in the news because they released a whole slate of upcoming home video releases. You remember that thing that I was worried they were just going to forget about? Well, honestly, looking at this list, they still might have. Like Attack on Titan and Dragon Ball are here, but those might just be continuing what Funimation was doing in the past. Just, now with a different set of logos on the spine, so it's gonna look real weird on your shelf. In fact, in many ways, a lot of things on this list just seem like Funimation holdovers in one way or another, with only a few exceptions. Like Spy Family is getting a DVD Blu-ray combo release in July, and then there are also things like Devil is a Part-Timer getting its second season release as well. I mean, even if I could say that Devil is a Part-Timer is only getting a second season release because the first season was released by Funimation back in the day and did really well, so why not do season 2? Spy Family getting a home video release is the most unique thing out of the bunch. But I mean, it's also one of the most popular shows that Crunchyroll has had in the last number of years, so it almost makes sense for them to try and milk it for all it's worth. These days, streaming rights and home video rights are two separate things that the company needs to negotiate for. And since streaming is, the thing that Crunchyroll is its bread and butter, most of the time when they negotiate for things, I very much doubt that they even bother to put the home media license on the table to begin with. So a lot of times they license things for streaming and don't really care about the DVD or Blu-ray releases. And even looking at this slate of upcoming releases, I still think that this is the case. Perhaps someone in a boardroom somewhere is looking at this whole thing and really hoping that the Spy Family release does well enough so that they can justify it to the brass to do more home media releases, but I don't know. I'd love it if they did more home media releases. It's been a long time since I've had large expansions to the shelf behind me, but even with this trickle of info, I am still discouraged. Moving on to a brief PSA for fans of the currently airing anime series KamiKatsu. It has been announced that the 8th episode of this series, originally set to release on the 24th of the month, has been delayed to the 31st due to various circumstances. Nothing really else on what those circumstances are, but they just say that they want to deliver better work to the viewers of the show. And I'm finding this hilarious because it's KamiKatsu, the series that decided, hey, let's narratively have our god bring over modern day farming equipment to this old medieval fantasy town, and we visualize this in the adaptation by taking live action footage of actual farming equipment in use, throwing a really shitty Photoshop filter on it, and then rotoscoping out the head of the farmer with one of the secondary characters. It looks real weird. This series is already riding the line of being completely slipshod, so something tells me that an additional week ain't gonna help that. though this marks the second time that one of the airing shows for this season has been delayed, though at least in KamiKatsu's case, we're not getting a recap episode or anything of the sort. We're just flat out skipping the week, unlike when Witch of Mercury did it a couple of weeks ago. But with luck, that will be all of the delays for this season. All of them, because we are already like halfway through the spring season and starting to get ever closer to the end of the season and the start of summer. So with any luck, we're not going to see any more delays, at least until then. We can hope, anyways. Now, before we continue, I wanted to give shoutouts to supporters of this channel over on Patreon. Because yes, this video is not sponsored, and the more support that we get over there, the less sponsors that Glass Reflection will need at any given time. So an immense thank you, especially to patrons like Omar Showman, Ahagao Comics, Hector Montemayor, Wago221, Deluxe Flame, City Yamako, Rifen Bonaparte, and Ross Emerson. We can't continue this without your guys' support, so however much you are able to help, I am eternally grateful. In the realm of upcoming anime, manga, and light novels, we have 3 things worth mentioning. First up, Attack on Titan, the final season, part 3, second half, gets a new visual. Why is this noteworthy? Well, arguably, it's not. Personally, I can't keep passing up the chance to make fun of its name at this point. You know, with how many divisions of parts and seasons that we've been getting. It's still monumentally stupid to me that this is even a thing, so I'm going to continue to point it out while it is relevant. Beyond that, though, we got 2 franchises from the 2000s that are coming back into the spotlight. First, after 11 years, the light novel series Shakugan no Shana is receiving a new volume. Now, technically, it is not a mainline story volume, and instead is going to be the 4th short story volume. Like a lot of times, light novel series have a lot of short stories that are written for a variety of reasons. Sometimes if it's like a new anime comes out or something else that is worth promoting alongside the main light novel series, an author might come out with a short story to commemorate this event. Those short stories are then combined and released in one volume on their own. It's a little hard for me to get a precise read on when all of the short stories for Shana have come out and how much of this new volume is actually going to be new material, because like Katakawa did release a Shana short story back in 2017, but that's kind of all I've been able to find since the ending of the mainline story back in 2012 until now. Either way, even if this is just kind of a bit of a supplemental hurrah, it is still good to see more of Shana. Like, Shana was one of the very first anime series that I ever watched when it was airing back in 2005. That was a thing. And then I watched its follow-up series in 2007 and 2011. Oh, I didn't really like some of the more massive changes that the adaptation did to the source material because, you know, it like skipped entire volumes. Shana is one of those, I want to say like mid-tier popularity animes from the 2000s. The kind of show where people that were already into anime probably picked up and enjoyed, but it didn't really drag new people into the fold, at least over here in the West. Needless to say, it was one of my favorites from the time, and as much as I would love for Shana to get like a redo anime adaptation, I just don't think that's ever gonna happen or be in the cards. It just plainly has too much content to be worthwhile for an anime adaptation, or readaptation in this case. Plus, if they did a readaptation, they might try to recast Shana, and that would just, well, it would just make the whole project dead to me. Moving on though, the second series from that period of time that is getting more content is Full Metal Panic. FMP is set to launch a brand new volume, a brand new series in celebration of its 25th anniversary. Now, unlike Shana, that is just supposed to be a short story collection, Full Metal Panic is instead releasing a brand new story set a whole 2 decades after the original. So like, instead of high schoolers, our main characters are now, what, in their mid to late 30s? It has, though, been confirmed by the series author that it will contain some amount of slapstick that Full Metal Panic is known for, but not to the extent of the very well-received Full Metal Panic Fumofu, which still to this day I will say is like one of the best comedic anime put to screen ever. So you can also imagine that this is extremely depressing to me. Like, while I am mostly an anime watcher with Full Metal Panic and haven't really read the light novels, the slapstick has always been one of my favorite parts. I once described the first season adaptation of Full Metal Panic as being this perfect blend of action and slapstick, only for then the 2 seasons that followed it, Fumofu and Second Raid, to be like weird separations of those 2 aspects and then perfected in each individual season. The most recent anime work, however, Invisible Victory, seemed to just continue on the very serious, action-heavy focused path. And I don't think it was anywhere near as good, because it just felt like such a downer in comparison to the rest of the franchise. Hopefully the author can get back to striking a good balance between the two again, but really, who knows? I will say the author already has probably a little too much high hopes for this new series. He is on record musing that while this new series could just end in a single volume, depending on how things go, this could last a whole epic saga of like 20 volumes. Which personally, I think that statement right there is a death flag for the whole thing. Anytime a creative has come out and publicly stated that we have plans for like X amount of films or X amount of content before anything has even been released, like it never then becomes popular enough to warrant any of it. So in this particular case, I think that the author is getting way ahead of himself by even contemplating that this new series could get 20 volumes when the original Full Metal Panic that he released only got 12. Like, perhaps he has some serious lightning in a bottle to think that this new series he's about to release is going to be that good and that popular, but I doubt it. Like, I want to see/read more Full Metal Panic. I love the series, honestly. And like the idea of having those characters, the main characters from the show, aged up appropriately to basically be the same age as the original audience that followed along with this series back when it first came out. That sounds great to me, but I have yet to see even a proof of concept that this new series will be anything more than like a big member-berry romp for fans of the original. Hope for the best, expect the worst. I mean, they didn't even announce that there was going to be a cameo by Buntakun, so that's like the travesty in and of itself. But that's it for our video today, so subscribe if you haven't, hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and until next time, as we continue to sit here in the closet of anime, watch more of it, watch more anime, and stay frosty.